Into our next discussion now, there are indications that Sunday Igboho, also known as or Sunday Adeyemo rather, also known as Sunday Igboho, has been brought before a court in Cotonou, the capital of Republic of Benin. He has been returned to the detention cell until Friday, when hearing will continue. Details of the case is still very sketchy, but we know that Nigeria is yet to make a formal request for the extradition of Mr. Igboho. TVC News' Demola Lawrence in this report refreshes our minds on what brought the matter to this point.
Before the attack on Igboho, an agrarian community in Oyo State, where a returnee medical doctor turned farmer Fatai Aborede was killed by suspected herdsmen on the 20th of December 2020. Not many knew Sunday Igboho, but with his fierce reaction after the incident, demanding clearer line of action by government to end what he considered an invasion of his native land, it gradually became a household name. And then the agitations became stronger as few other attacks took place. The number of people who were killed still remain undisclosed. Sunday Igboho continued to task authorities to approach the issue of banditry with a little more seriousness. As days goes by, the call for justice snowballed into a secession campaign, with government frown at, as it is typically said that the nation's unity is non-negotiable. On January 26th, his house at Soka area of Ibadan was searched in suspected arson by yet to be identified persons. Thankfully, no life was lost. On the 26th February, it was alleged that security operatives wanted to arrest him on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, an incident all the security operatives denied. On the 1st of July, in what is called a covert operation by the DSS, Sunday Igboho's house at Soka in Ibadan was invaded. 2 persons were killed and 13 others arrested. After the invasion, DSS operatives say they recovered assorted arms, live ammunition and charms from his residence and subsequently declared him wanted.
Because of the exchange, 2 of Igboho's armed men were gunned down, while the rest were subdued and arrested. Only 1 operative, who was shot by the assailants on his right hand, sustained injury.
From Eden, Sunday Igboho denied having such weapons in his residence, but alluded to the fact that he used metaphysical powers for his operation. Since his statement from Eden, not much was heard from him, but his followers continued with the agitation with planned rally in Lagos, which was botched. Fast-tracked to 19th of July, it was reported that he was arrested in neighboring country, Republic of Benin, though there has not been any official comment either by DSS or the police to confirm this. There have been conflicting reports since then concerning the whereabouts of Sunday Igboho. A section of the social media reported he has been freed, while another countered by saying he will be arraigned for immigration offences in the Republic of Benin. There are yet unverified reports that Nigerian authorities are pushing for extradition to the country. Coming days will be vital in confirming how Sunday Igboho was arrested if it turns out to be true. It is also important to observe how Nigeria handles the matter in the face of growing international attention on the country. Demola Lawrence, TVC News, Lagos.
All right. That is the background to what we'll be talking about in the next couple of minutes. And joining me now to talk more and have insight into this is UK Solicitor and Politician Olufemi Aina. It's nice to have you join me.
Yes, thank you.
Good morning.
Yes, thank you.
Now, I know you've been following this development, but let's starting from the overview. This case is not as straightforward and as easy as the Nnamdi Kanu's case. But it has to do with, somebody who has been wanted one way or the other. But share with us, how complex is Sunday Igboho's case?
Well, it's a bit complex, and this is even making it worse. I must say this. Number one, if you want to be an agitator, one will expect you to have planned your escape. And also, What I can't understand, yesterday he appeared in court in Cotonou, according to the press report, and the decision will be taken how to deal with him today. And it is likely it's going to be dealt with robustly for trying to obtain the passport of that country, one way or the other. That's why he was arranged in court.
When he is not a citizen.
And you are not a citizen. And it's very disturbing, because passport is evidence of nationality. Birth certificate is just a gateway to nationality, because you can be born in a country doesn't mean you are a national. But let's leave that. You are somebody who is facing some sort of invited comma, persecution in Nigeria, if that's the argument. Though to the Nigerian government, he is an enemy of the state and is a criminal. That's why they are looking for him, and that's why they declare him wanted. But if you feel there's a political element to this, you see, under the migration concept of extreme necessity, you can arrive at a border of a country and request entry into that country, and they will allow you in. He should have done that. That's because he's everywhere. Everybody knows about him. There are a lot of evidence that, look, he has issues with the federal government of Nigeria. That's one point. The other point is this. If he has a Beninese passport, why in Nigeria? And he used that passport to enter the Republic of Benin, they cannot charge him to court under international law, because the United Nations Convention on Refugee Status prevents you under Article 33 from punishing people for using false identity, especially where they are in fear of their life, which is what is happening here. So they won't. But what he did is that after he entered that country, he now tried to obtain the passport of that country. That's why he's in court. And there's a possibility, if I'm prosecuting him, I will be asking the judge that he should be deported. Because as at that time, you become an undesirable migrant for trying to obtain the passport of our country when you are not a citizen. But there's another clause to this. Assuming they said he was on his way to Germany.
To Germany.
That's fine. Maybe he was going there to seek asylum. But the issue is this. Even if he gets to Germany, he cannot get asylum in any event, because...
Why is that?
I will tell you that. The reason, because under the Dublin Convention, if you are going to the UK to seek asylum, Mike, and you get to France, from France you move to Belgium, from Belgium you now enter the United Kingdom. The Dublin Convention prevents you from the United Kingdom from granting you asylum, because under that convention you must apply for asylum in the first safe country in which you arrive, and the first safe country is the Republic of Benin. So you cannot leave Benin and say you are going to Germany. That is one. The other point is that the issue with this Sunday issue is that even if you apply for political asylum in Republic of Benin, it still has a lot of hurdles to cross. Number one, under the Refugee Convention, which is called the 1950 Convention, there is what they call the concept of internal flight of alternative. Now, you are in the West, you have problem with the government, this and that. You still need to convince the authority that you cannot escape to the East to go and hide yourself. Also, you still need to convince the authority that the police in that country, they cannot protect you. It may well be DSS is everywhere, this and that. But the point is this, the argument, the alternative argument, with all this video, with all the metaphysical power and what have you, there is an argument that, look, you are not, we are not persecuting you. You are a criminal, and we want you to appear before the court. That's why we are looking for you.
In the eyes of the law,
yes.
I'm glad you mentioned the issue of metaphysics here. In the eyes of the law, certainly the religions are recognized, Christianity and Islam. The African traditional religion, which one would claim that the issue of metaphysics fall under directly, in the eyes of does the law frown against anybody, you know, having to fortify himself or having to, you know, believe or use the paraphernalia of anything of the African traditional religion in that context?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
The only thing I'm aware is that if you are doing that and using it to disturb the public peace, then there might be an issue.
Why I'm bringing that up is that because when the DSS raided this house and they displayed the phones and displayed the guns and they displayed all the things they displayed, they also displayed some of the things thought to be, you know, all those things of metaphysics. And some people argue that, well, if he's a traditional African religion person and those are his own things of worship, why should they be displayed alongside? Because if a Christian if somebody who is arrested as a criminal and he has a Bible in his house, you don't display the Bible or the Quran as the case may be.
I take your point, but I invite you to take my point. My point is that whatever exhibit you recover, you can display it, whether it is admissible or not. That is an argument for the future. And this is a guy who has been saying, look, I'm going to fortify myself with Africa insurance, I don't need this and don't need that. And at the same time, he's been saying nobody can prevent him from using arm or what have you, and asking some people to leave this part of the country and what have you. You see, when you look at everything in the round, I'm of the view it probably has a case to answer. Let's forget about whether there's a politics and what have you. But the proper procedure is this. Number one, Nigeria has not formally made a request for its extradition. But as it is now, it may well be that's what is going to follow, depending on what will be the outcome of this case. But if Sunday Igboho apply for political asylum in Republic of Benin as we speak, that will be a stopgap to his extradition to Nigeria, because that needs to be considered before you extradite him. And the fundamental point is this: when you are dealing with extradition, you are not considering the guilt or innocence of the person. What you are considering is that did this person have a case to answer in his country? Is there a legal system in that country? But having said that, under international law, some country, you don't extradite people to a country where they are going to face the death sentence. If Sunday Igboho is convicted of treason or sedition or whatever, there is a possibility the punishment is death anyway. Whether that is carried out or not, that's a matter for another day. And these offenses, they are not offenses against me and you. They are offenses against the state. And the state has the right to say, look, you are encouraging insurrection in the country, and this is treasonable. Because of that, we want you to appear at the court to justify your action. And if you look at all this agitation, the fundamental question which we fail to ask, are they even recognized? You are asking for self-determination. You can't, under international law, there is nothing like self-determination. Self-determination only comes in where a country is under the colonial power. And as of 1960, we have independence. So that goes out of the way. Secession, which they are asking for, some people tried that between 1969 and 70. What happened in the end? No victor, no vanquish. Now, the secession is like a liquidation of a sovereign state. Because, number one, you have a sovereign state which is an indivisible entity called Nigeria. And then you said, okay, you want to liquidate it. Let this Hausa be on their own. Let this. You see, under international law, it is not that it is not possible, but it is not legally recognized. And Nigeria is not Ethiopia and Eritrea. Nigeria is not part of Yugoslavia, where we are talking about Kosovo. So all these arguments of agitation, we have a constitution. If you are not happy with the president, wait for the next election and let him go. If there are any issue, and my own major concern is this, which I think some people should be concerned about. If the Yorubas were going through a lot in Nigeria, that is not peculiar to us. The Igbos are going through the same, or that the thieves and the few. And the Yorubas have somebody who is called Are Onakakanfo, who is more like a generalissimo. If there is any issue, he is the one who will lead the agitation, and then we will follow. There is somebody, I saw some woman a few days ago described as Yalodi of Yoruba land. These are the people who should be at the forefront. And what this guy is doing, it is the only disturbing aspect. If you want to make yourself an enemy of the state, you need to plan it very well. Plan your escape At the same time, plan an identity you are going to use. But it is the same, and once Interpol put you on a red notice, wherever you go, they are going to arrest you, and that is the problem.
Now, what happens to his, his lawyers had filed a case at the International Criminal Court. What happens to all of that?
See, they are just going on a figment of their own imagination, because the International Criminal Court, first of all, it's not there. That court is not set up in order to micromanage individual problems with their sovereignty within their own country. Okay. And under international law, sovereign states have jurisdiction over the criminal activities of their national. That is the first starting point. Under the complementary test in the international law, the International Criminal Court will only intervene if and only if the sovereign state is not ready to bring criminals to justice. Number one, if there is war crime, there is genocide, and they are not tried. And this International Criminal Court, which they are going, at the end of the day, what happened? They tried the president of Kenya. He was found not guilty. They tried Lawrence Gbagbo of Ivory Coast. He's back in Ivory Coast. And of recent, what they even did is to try the government of Philippines on the basis that they are killing drug peddlers and drug dealers. And let me even tell you, the International Criminal Court will only have jurisdiction on a country who are members, the 123 members of that court. Exactly. And now what the Philippines did is to say, look, we are not going to be part of this International Criminal Court. You know, United States of America doesn't recognize that court. And this court, there has been persistent to report that that court is not even efficient enough because of mismanagement and what have you. But that's an argument for another day. So if they take this Sunday Igboho case to the International Criminal Court, they don't have jurisdiction. Even as of a few weeks ago, this same court just ruled that Palestine is not a state under international law, and they said, look, whatever the Israelites might have done, we don't have jurisdiction, and that was true. And they need to understand the fact that there is a procedure in place if you want to go before International Criminal Court, and that will start with preliminary investigation, then it moves to formal investigation, then the matter goes before a grand chamber, who will now decide whether they have jurisdiction. And also, look, let me just tell you the nut and bolt of what I'm saying. One day, we are going to wake up and see Sunday Igboho in Nigeria. Charles Taylor was here some years back. What happened? He got to a stage, we have to push him out, that you have to go. And when nations are making that decision, what they will consider, don't forget the economy of Republic of Benin depends on Nigeria. Vice versa. That, look, this is one individual. Are we going to sever our relationship because we want to provide a safe haven for this guy? It's not going to happen. And because the economic interests of the country supersede the personal interests of Sunday Igboho, and in the end, we will wake up one day and they will tell us. And don't forget, this Attorney General is somebody who can spring surprises at any time. And that's what I foresee is going to happen in the long run.
This is great information you're giving to us here. Thank you. So I wish there were time for us, because there's so many other areas I would like us to. But certainly, as things unfold, we'll get better insight into all this. Thank you so much, Olufemi Aina, for coming on the program.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
For all the time.
Right. Thank you.